Okay, let's open the Bible again to the book of Proverbs, and Proverbs chapter 6 this afternoon. Proverbs 6, and we're going to begin the very first verse. Let's read the first 5 verses. Solomon writes, he says, "My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself, when thou art come into the hand of thy friend. Go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler." These first 5 verses are simple, and they are matched by a number of verses in the New Testament. Keep your finger here, and we'll look at a couple of those other places. Matthew chapter 5, if you would, first of all, Matthew chapter 5. And notice in Matthew 5, verse 25, Jesus says, "Agree with thy adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison." And also come to Luke chapter 12. Luke chapter 12 and verse 58. Luke 12:58. "When thou goest with thine adversary to the magistrate, as thou art in the way, give diligence that thou mayest be delivered from him, lest he hale thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and the officer cast thee into prison." Now back to the book of Proverbs. In Proverbs chapter 22, verse 26, he writes, "Be not thou one of them that strike hands, or of them that are sureties for debts." And what he's describing here in the first 5 verses is you entering into an agreement, and the image here is of people striking hands. We'd say, let's shake hands on it. And although the polite gesture to show respect and honor is the bow in the Oriental custom, as it is in the Bible, they also struck hands on an agreement. Now, you've seen these old pictures of people entering into some sort of an agreement, shaking hands, and rather than hand to hand, they kind of like grab the above the wrist, the forearm. I don't know if that's how they did it, but nevertheless, that's the imagery that God describes for us, that when 2 people would enter into an agreement regarding one person owing a debt and vowing to pay, they would strike hands and say, "I will shake hands on it," shake and agree. That used to be good enough. A long, long time ago, people would just shake hands, and their word was their honor, their bond. If the guy said, "I'm going to pay you $100 for that mule you have out there. I got to go back down to the bank when they open next Monday and get the money, and I'll come back and pay you for it." They'd shake hands on it, and that was his mule. He could take it right then and there and bring the money later, or didn't. People trusted each other. They knew that their fellow man was going to be honest with him. This goes back to what I was saying about the spirit in earlier days in America. Is people knew that they were going to be held accountable by the community, and they would be held accountable by the law, and held accountable one day by God for giving their word and not fulfilling it. But in the case he's describing here, verse 1, "My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth." The point of all these is that here you have underwritten someone else's debt. You've promised to pay their debt if they are unable to do so. And a friend who owes someone else money, say, and you've agreed to cover their debt, you better make sure that that person is really your friend. He says in verse 3, "Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend." You better make sure he's your friend. and that you can depend upon him to pay his debt so that he doesn't leave town and leave you now obligated to pay the debt that he's acquired, that he's racked up. This would be similar to someone co-signing for somebody else to get a loan. And you have every reason to believe that they're going to be good for it, but they don't have the credit in order to qualify for a loan. So you step up and use your good name and credit to help them get the loan that they're seeking. But if they default on it, they're not able to pay it. Guess who's stuck paying the balance on? You. You've committed yourself. A very dangerous thing to enter into, even if it's between believers. In fact, it might be even more dangerous for two Christians to enter into it, because one guy will say, well, he's my brother in Christ, he'll forgive me if I can't pay this debt, and he leaves you stuck with it. You don't want to get involved in that with another Christian. It's just a rule of thumb, as a rule. Steer clear of that if you can. Look at chapter 16. Just a minute, chapter 16. And notice there, verse 5, I think it is. Chapter 16, verse 5. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. And also chapter 20, verse 16. Take his garment that is surety for a stranger, and take a pledge for him of him for a strange woman. Take his garment. You know, if you vowed to pay off someone else's debt because they could not or would not or left town and left you stuck with it, you're not going to rest until that thing is completely resolved. And he says back here in our text, verse 4, give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. You can't sleep sound at night, knowing that that debt or that bill is hanging over your head. Now, the thing to do these days is just walk away from it. They made it real easy to file bankruptcy years ago. They tried to crack down on it a few years ago, made it more difficult. But then the housing market went up and down like on a roller coaster. People got foreclosed, and people bought homes that their income really didn't qualify them to be able to afford. But the lender lied to them and made them think that they could get it. Don't worry, you'll be able to do it. Listen, enter in this real starter on 1%, 2% starter rate. It'll be good at that rate for 5 years, 7 years, whatever the length of time was, before the payment jumps up to a higher interest rate. And of course, they figured, well, my income, hopefully between now and 5 years from now, when that payment jumps up, maybe I'll get a raise at work, or maybe I'll win the lottery. Something good will happen to me, and I'll be getting more money, and I'll be able to afford that higher payment. Well, the good thing never did happen. It didn't really turn out the way they thought. And they end up getting foreclosed because once the payment jumps high to the higher interest rate, after the teaser rate, they call it, a trial entry period, expired, and their income hadn't gone up, but the price, the monthly payment did go up. They all ended up getting kicked out. They ended up getting foreclosed and filing bankruptcy. They had no business trying to buy the home to start with. But stupid thinking of liberal politicians in the world, everyone's entitled to this, everyone's entitled to that. No, they're not. Everyone's entitled to the chance to earn it, but they're not entitled to it. You can't guarantee everyone has everything. Should everyone be entitled to a house at the beach? Should everyone be entitled to drive a brand new Mercedes? Now, if you talk to the charismatic and TBN preachers, yeah, they think that's true. Everyone should live on the beach in Orange County, and everyone should not. Brother Lee, he's one of the rich guys, but he lives down by the beach in Orange County. But not everyone's entitled to have everything, but they should be allowed to compete for it and work hard and earn it on their own. And that much the government should be able to try and guarantee, at least a chance to strive for it. But can't guarantee